In the headlines, voting commences in Osun governorship election. Voter turnout impressive. Bandits abduct 2 Catholic priests in Kaduna. Nigeria's inflation rate hits 65-month high of 18.6% in June 2022. On the foreign scene, 3 killed, 15 injured in Russian strike on Ukraine's Dnipro. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Now the news in detail. Voting has commenced as scheduled in some polling units in Olorunda local government area, Osogbo, for the governorship election with an impressive turnout of voters. Trustee Shafiu Suleiman reports that women and the elderly took the lead in the election that is so far experiencing effective functionality of the bimodal voter accreditation system as well as security presence.
This is polling unit 4, Owode in Osogbo. As early as 8:40, voting has commenced here with all the stakeholders present, the security agencies, the INEC personnel, and of course all party agents. The first person has just voted right now, and of course we've also witnessed the functionality of the Vivas, and of course the orderly queue of the prospective voters. Most of them elderly. One interesting thing about the exercise here, we intend to engage some of them as to why, despite their age, are interested in exercising their franchise. Daddy, can you talk to us? Can you talk to us, sir?
You say?
Yeah, can we know you, sir?
Well, my name is Julius Ogini.
Right, sir. Sir, how old are you?
I'm now 72. I'm 71 plus. Plus.
Okay, despite your age, you are here to exercise your franchise. Why is it important for you to exercise this voting right?
Yeah, it is my civic right to vote for my candidate for the betterness of this state.
Right. Okay, how would you describe the exercise here?
For now, everything is going very well. I'm very, very okay with the situation of things now.
So, as you heard from one of the prospective voters, is right on the queue now. It's about to exercise his fundamental right, to voting in this democratic exercise. And the elderly, you can see, people behind him also very much set, to cast their votes. And they are also impressed with the level of preparedness and, of course, the conduct of the exercise here at the Unit 4, Owode in Osogbo. From the Osun State Capital, Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News.
Similarly, newly created Unit 13 of Ward 6 in Olorunda local government area, one of the recent additions to the number of voting units in Osun State, looks deserted in the ongoing governorship election. Trustee Shafiu Suleiman visited the polling unit and now reports.
Interestingly, a few meters away from the Unit 4, Owode, is the newly created Unit 13 by INEC, which is in Ward 6, Olorunda local government. Unfortunately, here, the voters, prospective voters are already here on ground as at this time, but there is no sign of election about to take place here. No INEC officials, no voting cubicles, and of course, no election materials. So let's engage one of the party agents to tell us what exactly is happening here. What's your name?
My name is Kayode Babawale.
Okay. This is supposed to be one of the newly created units.
Yes, it's a new created.
So what is happening here? I haven't seen anything taking place.
We are since waiting for the electoral officers since morning. We are here, but there's no any sign that the officer. There's no any sign that's of election here. So that is, and we call many people that what is happening, but we don't know really happen.
So what do you intend to do now as a party agent? What's your next step?
We still call them, but we don't know what we can do now. That is why we call you.
So both the party agents and other stakeholders here at Ward 13, newly created ward by INEC, polling unit 13, which is newly created at Ward 6, are so far helpless, so to speak, because they are not, nobody is communicating to them. They don't know their fate with regards to whether they will be able to exercise their fundamental right of voting in this governorship election. They are hoping that stakeholders, the critical stakeholders, INEC in particular, which is the electoral umpire, would take this issue up and of course make sure that they are not disenfranchised.
Still on Osun State governorship elections, we have joining us to give us an update on what is happening and the situation, during the elections, all the way from Oshogbo. We have joining us live our correspondent, Shafiu Suleiman.
"66 registered voters. An election has started here exactly 8:30 according to schedule. But if you look at the mammoth crowd here, at first you would think when it is a market session, but this is a crowd of voters who have turned out en masse, to exercise their franchise. But the major concern here is whether the INEC, officials here will be able to meet up with the demand of getting everyone to exercise his franchise before 2:30, which should be the close of voting. Let me engage the INEC staff here to tell us how they are coping with this huge crowd. Can you please tell us your name? Okay. How are you coping with this crowd here?
Everything is going on well, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do you think you'll be able to meet up with the 2:30?
By the grace of God, we are still working on it. Anything can happen.
Or is there any need for an extension?
No, there's no need for that.
Okay. The INEC official here is very optimistic that they will be able to cope with the huge number of crowd as you can see behind me here, even though they have less than 2 hours 30 minutes to do so. Perhaps this give credence to the call by the governor for INEC, perhaps to extend the voting timeline so that everyone will be captured. But this is what you find virtually everywhere you go in Osun State right now as the election is taking place for the governorship election 2022. From a typhoon settlement here in Olorunda local government area of Osun State, Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News.
All right, thank you so much, Shafiu, for that update. Still on the elections, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Senator Ademola Adeleke, has cast his vote in the ongoing Osun State governorship election. He cast his ballot on Saturday morning at polling unit 9, Ward 2 in Ede North local government area of the state. Senator Adeleke, who arrived at his polling unit in Ogbogunde, Shagba, Ede North, about 8:46 a.m. was accredited by the electoral officials on duty at about 8:50 a.m. before casting his vote. Speaking to reporters after casting his votes, the PDP governorship candidate commended INEC for ensuring that everything about the process goes well. The Center for Rehabilitation and Social Integration in Africa has described the selection of Bishop Isaac Idahosa by Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso as an own goal which will affect the chances of the NNPP in the presidential election. Executive Director of the center, Michael Ibeabuchi, described Idahosa as one who lacked popularity and knowledge of politics, noting that such attributes will add no value to the tickets.
Sometimes you begin to think where the political trajectory is going to. When people have put in a lot to support a political party and, at the end of the day, there is no, recourse to what they have done. I can tell you it's a very serious mistake by His Excellency. It's going to affect his chances because choosing politics is not Nollywood. It's not drama. So going to choose the Nollywood dramatical Archbishop Dawosa is not going to give him a single vote. Before now, I don't know him. I only know him as a man of God. I have never seen him in the political space. So tell me, who is he going to mobilize? Is an own goal he has called for himself again.
Still in politics, leadership crisis is rocking the Bauchi State chapter of the New Nigerian People's Party, leading to the suspension of State Acting Chairman Sani Malam. The suspension followed what the party described as gross indiscipline and disrespect to the national leadership. Adamu Imam completes the story.
During a press briefing, NNPP Northeast Zonal Secretary Babayo Liman says he had warned Sani Shehu to stop parading himself as the acting chairman of the NNPP in Bauchi State, pending investigation of 6 allegations leveled against him in a query letter.
The query is not a termination letter, it's not a suspension letter. It's something that you will receive the query and respond to it accordingly. But he refused to even collect the query, not to even respond to what we have said in the query. So that is the character that is shocking each and every one of us in the state and in the zonal office. I'm the zonal secretary, I'm the one that signed the letter, he has my phone number. And even if it is from somewhere else, when you issue a query or a letter, you must receive the letter to see the contents of that letter. So you do not even receive the query, not to even talk, knowing the contents of that letter.
The zonal secretary said the content of the letter is part of the decision taken by the party's executive at the national level, which urged the embattled acting chairman to respond.
So I'm appealing to them to cooperate with the secretariat, to cooperate with the leadership of the zonal, as well to cooperate with the leadership of the national, given the fact that soon they are going to announce the new chairman that is going to receive the mantle of leadership. We are not in a hurry to appoint the chairman until and unless we have seek the consent of each and every executive and the members of the NNPP in Bauchi before we will appoint the new chairman to take the mantle of leadership.
On the other hand, another group executive network of the party said the purported suspension of the state acting chairman, Sani Malam, stand rejected. Legal advisor of the group, Mohammed, says the action is unconstitutional, null and void, as according to him, no due process is followed, and the zonal secretary has no constitutional right to suspend any member of the state executive. He said if any member of the party is accused of any wrongdoing, a disciplinary committee must be set up to investigate the accused, a fair hearing and the opportunity to defend himself and submit their recommendations before taking any action. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
The National Industrial Court Abuja on Friday ordered the federal government to put machinery in place for the immediate review of the salaries and allowances of judicial officers in Nigeria. Justice Osatoanwem Obaseki Osage, who issued the order, held that the current salaries and allowances of judicial officers in the country is not only abysmally low, but embarrassing. Madia Umar reports.
Delivering judgment in a suit instituted against the federal government by a senior advocate of Nigeria, Sebastian Han, Justice Obaseki Osage ordered the federal government to commence a monthly payment of 10 million naira to the Chief Justice of Nigeria, 9 million to other justices of the Avis Court, as well as the President of Court of Appeal, 8 million to other justices of the Appellate Court, and the Chief Judges of both federal and states High Court, and 7 million to judges of the federal and states High Court. This, to many, is a new era for judicial officers in Nigeria, as the judge held that the refusal of the government to review the judicial officers' salaries and allowances for 14 years was unconstitutional, unlawful, and should be compelled to do the needful. The former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Kanwa Gabi San, who was present in court alongside other senior lawyers, speaks on the judgment.
So, the judgment of this court is that the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission should review the salaries of the judges and the justices. And I make appeal to the Attorney General of the Federation and the Chairman of the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission to see to it that this judgment is implemented immediately. I thank my brother S.T. Horn here, who initiated this case for a declaration that the salaries of our judges should be reviewed. Do you know that for 14 years they have been on the same salary? Do you know that?
The plaintiff, Sebastian Hahn, could not hide the excitement that greeted the ruling.
I feel on top of the world. I have been in this fight since 2013. I was the first person to roll out figures, comparative figures between America, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, and the rest of what judges and justices are earning there and what they're earning here. And that earned me an editorial with The Nation. The Nation newspaper carried an editorial praising me, and in all subsequent interviews, if asked, I have always said that they are living on very poor salaries and emoluments. Today is a watershed. Today is the hallmark of a new dawn in the justice sector of this country. I believe that this fight is not personal. This fight is for everybody in Nigeria. Because without the judiciary, there can be no Nigeria.
Moving to insecurity, bandits have kidnapped 2 more Catholic priests in a church in Kaduna State. The 2 priests, Reverend Father John Chitnam and Reverend Father Donatus Cleopas, were reportedly abducted on Friday evening in Jere local government area of the state. The abduction comes less than 2 weeks after another priest, Reverend Father Emmanuel Silas, who was kidnapped by bandits from the parish rectory of St. Charles Catholic Church Zamina in Kauru local government area. Although the security agencies have yet to confirm the incident, the Chancellor of Kafanchan Catholic Diocese, Reverend Father Emmanuel Okolo, confirmed the abduction. In a statement, Okolo said the 2 priests were kidnapped by bandits at about 5 p.m. on Friday while they were on pastoral duty at the Rectory of Christ the King Catholic Church, Yadingaru. You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. Waste dumping killing aquatic life. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Trust News Update. Let's take a look at some of our top stories. You heard that voting commences in Osun governorship election. Voter turnout impressive. We also told you that bandits abduct 2 Catholic priests in Kaduna. The Borno State Police Command has arrested 67 suspects in June and July 2022. The suspects, according to the police, were involved in rape, gun trafficking, fraud, among other criminal activities. The report.
The Borno Police Command is currently investigating cases of possession of dangerous weapons and causing grievous hurt, possession of Indian hemp, and fraud. The Public Police Relations Officer, Sani Kamilu, said 30 suspects were arrested for gun trafficking and possession of arms, adding that 11 suspected armed robbers and 2 suspects for alleged fraud and rape were also apprehended.
One Buhari Malam Mohammed of Gomari Airport, Maiduguri, reported to this office that a syndicate of persons who claim to be spirits Aljanu from the inner world deceived him into believing that they were sent by God to financially reward him. Based on his positive integrity, that they met him to go to a designated location at Government Girls Secondary School, Maiduguri, and
She's 10 years old. When I was coming back from the market, I saw her at a shop. She said she wants us to go somewhere quiet. So we went to a building where I slept with her. While we were at it, people saw us. I paid her 30 naira. They called my elder brother and he collected their money and 3 phones, and they are now claiming it's 5 phones. That's what happened. My elder brother is the one doing this fraud business. I have nothing to do with this. I just found myself here in the police station. I loaded passengers from Gamburungala. While on my way, a soldier at a checkpoint gave me a small bag, saying that it's an MP3, that I should give it to a colleague in Maiduguri. I never knew that it was bullets inside until 2 days ago I was arrested. In another development, the command warned the public to desist from the use of spy plate numbers, saying failure to comply may lead to prosecution, adding that the command will continue to fight against criminals and criminality in the state.
Harmful human activities like indiscriminate dumping of plastic waste into rivers and disposal of chemicals by industries are said to be some of the factors responsible for the extinction of many aquatic animals as well as shrinking of the rivers. In this report, fishermen at River Kaduna say these and other unhealthy activities have led to a reduction in the quantity of fish they harvest from the river, as well as a decline in the river habitat, while experts believe aquatic animals would continue to go into extinction due to these activities. The report.
River Kaduna derived its name from crocodiles due to the abundance of these reptiles in the river in the past. Today, fishermen say they can hardly find any of them in the river. Yusuf is one of the fishermen along River Kaduna. He laments the drastic reduction in the quantity of fish from the river due to unhealthy treatment of the river by man.
We still have different species of fish, but the quantity has drastically reduced because of the shrinking of the river.
Abubakar Muhammad is an environmentalist and climate analyst. He says plastic waste kills aquatic life as it can stay for millions of years without decomposition.
Aquatic life majorly, they eat whatever they see within the water body. And some of them, if they, plastic does not dissolve or digest or even decompose on time. Plastic can stay millions of years without decomposition. Aquatic life will eat that. If they eat that, what happens is that it will make them to go into extinction. It's actually going to affect millions and millions of aquatic life that are living. That is why if you look at most of our rivers now, you hardly can find good quantity of fish in them.
One of the sources of protein is aquatic animals. He says if nothing is done to get rid of plastic in the river, it may affect food production.
This can actually bring about challenge in the production of food because one of the major sources of protein is from the aquatic life. You get it? So perhaps if we have shortage in the production of food, like especially protein, then you have so many people coming up with malnourished, malnutrition. That is people coming up with sickness like beriberi and so on and so forth.
The climate analyst says industrial wastes that empty into the river affect aquatic life, adding that discouraging indiscriminate dumping of plastic and the promotion of recycling activities will rescue aquatic life from further extinction.
Industries, there are wastes that they are allowed to run into the drainage, from the drainage to the water body, also affect aquatic life, especially petroleum wastes. You get it? They affect aquatic life because some of them can actually make this aquatic organism, it depletes the oxygen that is found in water. Most of these plastics, this petroleum waste, and some of this wood waste that they throw into water body can actually be refined for production. Yes, it can be turned into money.
Any other waste that comes to the river will decompose after some time, but the plastics wastes do not.
Experts say healthy aquatic life can be achieved by using fewer plastic products, participating in river cleanups, and supporting organizations working to protect marine life.
In business, recently released figures by the National Bureau of Statistics indicate that Nigeria's inflation rate rose in June to 18.60% on a year-on-year basis. The NBS in its Consumer Price Index June 2022 report explained this represents an increase of 0.84% compared to the 17.75% rate recorded in June 2021. Increases were recorded in all classifications of individual consumption. In 2022, inflation rates have kept on rising, going from 15.60% in January to 15.70% in February and 15.92% in March. The inflation rates kept on rising to 16.82% in April, while it settled at 17.7% in May. Just before the most recent rise, the World Bank had listed Nigeria among 10 countries in the world with the worst inflation rates. The Global Bank's assessment is based on 2021 figures. Moving on to the foreign scene, at least 3 people were killed and 15 others injured following a Russian missile attack on the central Ukrainian city of Dnipro Friday, the regional governor Valentin Reznichenko said. The governor, who explained that the rockets hit an industrial plant and a busy street next to it, said authorities were still determining the extent of the destruction. The Ukrainian military shot down 4 of the 6 missiles fired at the city and region in an evening attack, he added. The Ukrainian Air Force said the Russians fired missiles from strategic aircraft in the northern part of the Caspian Sea, adding that the missiles had a range of 5,500 kilometers and a speed of 720 kilometers per hour. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Dashan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.